When you're buying a home, a few honest sentences to the wrong agent can get you shown homes above your budget, cost you leverage the moment you make an offer, and leave you paying thousands more than you had to. And it isn't always your own agent using them against you. Sometimes it's the agent on the other side of the deal. So today I'm sharing what I'd keep to myself if I were buying. One of these barely sounds like a mistake at all. It sounds like a compliment, and it might be the most expensive thing you can say. If we haven't met, I'm Heiland, a real estate advisor and broker here in Bozeman. And when I represent a buyer, I work for one person, you. Your price, your terms, your side of the deal. So what I'm about to walk you through is the same advice I give my own clients, and I want you to have it whether we ever work together or not. And some of my fellow agents may not love that I'm telling you this, but that's fine because you're the one spending the money and you deserve to know how to protect yourself in every one of these conversations. Let's start with the one that costs you money the fastest. What you can actually spend. Let's say your lender approved you up to $900,000, but you're hoping to stay near $750,000. Be careful who gets that top number. Why? Because in the wrong hands, your ceiling can become your floor. An agent who knows you can stretch to $900,000 starts nudging you toward pricier homes, since a bigger sale is a bigger commission, and your own agent isn't the only risk. If the listing agent learns you're approved for far more than you've offered, the seller will probably hold firm, knowing you've got the room. And this trap can hit relocating buyers the hardest, especially if you just sold somewhere pricier and stroll in like money's no object. So what do you do instead? Ask your lender for a couple of pre-approval letters at different amounts and show the one that matches your offer. Offering $780,000, hand over the letter that says $780,000 and your ceiling stays yours. Next is the one that turns your own life into pressure, your timeline, and why you're moving. Here's how it slips out. Let's say you're relocating for a job that starts in 6 weeks. The kids need to be enrolled in school by fall, so you lay the whole thing out for your agent. Feels honest, right? But a deadline can change negotiations. An agent who knows you have to be in by a date can steer you toward a house that isn't quite right, just to land you in time. And if the listing agent hears it too, the seller knows you can't walk away. So hold the line on the price. So what should you say instead? Give a preference, not a deadline. Something like, we'd like to be in by the fall, but we're flexible too, and the right house matters more than finding one fast. Set the pace yourself, and that will keep your leverage. This next one happens when your agent isn't even in the room, and with everything built around here right now, it will catch a lot of people off guard. Let's say you're driving the valley on a Sunday, you spot an open house or a model home in a new subdivision, so you pull in. Here's the part people miss. Who does that friendly agent inside really work for? Not you. At a resale open house, they represent the seller. In a new construction model home, every single time, they work for the builder. So they strike up a conversation, and before you know it, you've told them you love the place, you're relocating, and you're approved for way more than it costs. You just handed the other side everything. So what should you do? Look all you want, but say a lot less. Let them know you're working with an agent and just seeing the area. And if it's a home you really want, come back with your own agent. New construction has its own traps that can go well past the door, and I made a whole video on those, so I'll point it to you at the end. Next, don't lean on an online estimate. And this can feel pretty savvy, but it can actually work against you. You found the house online, the online estimate came in under the list price, so you want to lead with an offer on that. The website says it's worth less, so that's my offer. But I'm here to tell you, you can't hang your offer on an online estimate. But why not? Those tools are guessing, and in Montana, they guess with less to go on than almost anywhere else because we're a non-disclosure state and the sales price that really sets values aren't fully public. So what actually tells you value? Recent closed sales pulled from the local MLS. And honestly, a good buyer's agent should be checking that list price against what's truly sold nearby before you ever tour a home. If you're touring many homes at once, right after you find a home you even kind of like. If your agent isn't doing that on their own, that tells you something too. And that leads into the biggest one about who's really in your corner. In Montana, one agent is allowed to represent both the buyer and the seller in the same deal. It's called dual agency, it's legal, and it takes both sides signing off in writing. But is legal the same thing as good for you? In this case, not here. Our state's own disclosure form, the one you'd sign for representation, warns you right on the page that dual agency can limit how fully you get represented. So be sure you read that again. The paperwork itself is telling you you'll get less. And here's how I see that from my side. I've done dual agency, and even when it goes smoothly and everyone's happy, there's a thought I can't shake in my mind. Did I truly represent both people equally? Think about what that job asks. A seller is chasing the highest price, and the buyer wants the opposite, the most house for the least money. And I'm supposed to serve both fairly, right when I know what each side will privately do. And Montana law even bars me from telling one that the other would move on price. So here I am, holding both secrets at once, walking a line I can never be sure I walked fully. So what's the takeaway here? Unless you already know and trust an agent all the way, you want someone whose only job is you. Get your own agent, and you never have to wonder. And that brings me to the last one, the one I hinted at up top, because it barely sounds like a mistake. If anything, it sounds like a compliment. You found the house, you're ready to offer, and you tell your agent, you're the expert, I trust you, just put together whatever we need to win it. I get that instinct. You hired a pro so you wouldn't have to sweat the details. But handing over the whole decision is the most expensive thing you can say. Even with a great agent, you should understand what you're signing, the price, the terms, the contingencies you're keeping or waiving, and exactly why on every single one. When a client tells me to just handle it, I slow us down on purpose and we walk the offer line by line. That's how trust should work when this much money's on the line. Because if you hand the wrong person a blank check and they know you'll never look closely, what reason do they have to fight for every last dollar? Trust your agent, but then read the contract with them anyway. Now, here's the flip side to all of this, because none of this means keeping your own agent in the dark. The candid conversation you'd never have with a stranger is exactly the one to have with an agent who's truly in your corner. So how exactly do you get there? You need to sit down together before the search gets going, and you both commit to working with each other as a team. A real buyer's agent commits their time and knowledge so you understand every part of the process. And you commit right back, candid about your budget, your timeline, and what you really want. Why does this first session matter so much? Because it tells you fast whether this agent is in your corner or just steering you toward a sale. Are they patient enough to hold out for the right house? A good agent should be carrying a long-term view. Even when you need to move quick, it's aimed at a home that's a solid investment for your life and your money. And when you're not in a rush, that patience is what finds the right fit. I've had clients search for years, and then something finally fit what they came here for. Everyone's situation is different. So what you want is a real advisory relationship built around your needs and your timeline. Buying in Bozeman or the Gallatin Valley is likely the biggest purchase you'll ever make. And all of this comes down to protecting two things at once: your money, the price and terms that set how much equity you start with, and the life you're moving here to build. When I represent a buyer, protecting both is built into how I work from the very first showing. So, do you want a head start before you tour a single home? I put together a free buyer's guide that walks you through your own move step by step, and the link's in the description. And if you'd rather talk through your own situation, there's also a link to book a call down there, or you can search for Live in Bozeman and you'll find everything right on my website. Next, I want to hear from you on this one. What's something you almost said to an agent before you knew better? Tell me in the comments. I want to know. And before you make an offer here, especially on new construction, watch this next video first. Brand new Montana homes go wrong in ways nobody warned you about. From what's hiding in the crawl space to a warranty clock buyers learn about way too late. And I'll show you exactly what to check before you buy. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.